You are now tuned in to Power Podcasts, the Empower Hour. Peace and blessings, beautiful souls. I am Brandi L. Bates, author of Moonshine for the Soul, The Art of Grind, and many other books. I'll be your host for tonight. You can find me on Twitter at Soledad Francis and on Instagram at Brandi is Winning. Most of these podcasts can be found archived on YouTube. Hashtag Power Podcasts, but please listen to them while they still have all of their spirit and vitality by subscribing to us on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and or brandybates.podomatic.com. I see humans, but no humanity. I see humans, but no humanity. When you're ready, the spirit world will show you things others are unable to see yet. Rumi said, you show your worth by what you seek. Do not seek to follow in the footsteps of the wise. Seek what they sought. Live as if you were living already for the second time. Viktor Frankl wrote in his 1946 masterwork on the human search for meaning. And as if you had acted the first time as wrongly as you are about to act now. You can't beat a river into submission. You cannot beat a river into submission. Think about that for a minute. You have to surrender to its current and use its power as your own, right? You are a creator. You are a creator. You create with your every thought. Anything you can imagine is yours to be, to do, or have. Anything. And as you think, you vibrate. And it is your vibrational offering that equals your point of attraction. Right? Our shadow self is really our inner child. And its darkness is a product of our environment and upbringing. Our lived lives, wrote psychoanalyst Adam Phillips in his magnificent manifesto for missing out. He said our lived lives might become a protracted mourning for or an endless tantrum about the lives we were unable to live. But the exemptions we suffer, whether forced or chosen, make us who we are. Stay with me. See, you've got to learn how to see the oneness in all things. Everything, your job, your city, your family, your kids, your education, the shit you're attracted to. You've got to learn to see the oneness in all things. See it in the animals, in the trees, in the clouds, in the weather. Wayne Dyer said, the more you see yourself as what you'd like to become and act as if what you want is already there, the more you'll activate those dormant forces. Dormant forces. Do you know how much dormant energy? Do you realize how many dormant forces exist right now in your spinal cord, in your blood, in your DNA? Dormant forces. Dormant forces that will collaborate to transform your dream into your reality. We're talking about the tipping point. Rather than being your thoughts and emotions, be the awareness behind them, right? Ursula Le Guin reminds us, it is good to have an end to journey toward, but it is the journey that matters in the end. Everything hinges on your journey. Sometimes you have to risk it all for a vision that really no one can see but you. Consciousness is self-organizing and ever-evolving divine intelligence, right? Future leaders will be those who have transcended the lesser self. Follow me. The lesser self, right? They will represent the higher self of humanity. Because see, right now, we're led by the least among us. And I'm not talking about the children. I'm talking about the least noble, the least intelligent. Motherfuckers ain't reading. They're not tapped in. They're not tuned in with the pulse of the people. Some of them are pretentious, right? Think about it. We have survived a global pandemic. And I think a lot of people lose sight of that. We have survived a global pandemic. This was our version of the bubonic plague. This was our version of smallpox, right? We've survived political and socio-economic tumult and all manner of personal shit, right? Personal shit going on in our lives. A lot of marriages ended. A lot of people had new babies. A lot of people moved. Some people have moved cross country. A lot of people no longer involved in a career they were once involved in, right? So much shit. Saturn's rare 2020. We forget how, like, 2020 was groundbreaking and historic in so many aspects. Saturn's rare 2020 retrograde, it called for intense socio-political changes. That's why we saw so much going on the racial front with the Black Lives Matter and the political front and, things going on with the police and you name it, right? But old energy is clearing. Old energy is clearing. Old energy is clearing. And new energy is entering. That's what I want you to pay attention to. And your deepest desires have already been created in your future. Stay with me. Your heart is an electromagnetic field generator. Your body is like a spaceship. You are a vessel and a vehicle. Your body is both a vessel and a vehicle. Your pineal gland. We all have a pineal gland. You hear so much about calcified pineal glands. Your pineal gland is a steering wheel. Okay? Your unconditional love is the key to entering higher dimensions. Where am I going with this? On 3D Earth, three-dimensional Earth, right? Height, length, width, right? On 3D Earth, we have now crossed the Rubicon into unknown territory, transitioning into a fifth dimensional frequency existence. I don't know how many of you remember in 2011 we were all excited about the coming of 2012 and ascension, right? Well, on 3D Earth, we've kind of crossed over into a new frontier. And a lot of people decided they didn't want to come along on this new timeline, if you will. It accelerated climate changes. How many of you know that it's not natural for New York City to look like Venice, Italy, right? It's not natural. It's not normal for there to be snow in Texas, right? Accelerating climate changes. The destabilization of society, right? Those who were on the top have been toppled. Motherfuckers stormed the Capitol. Do you hear me? This is major. In one of the most powerful superpowers of the world, people stormed the Capitol. This is not Hunger Games. This is not a dystopian movie on Showtime, HBO. This really happened. So we accelerated climate changes. There we see the destabilization of society. And we are now entering into the sixth mass extinction, where well underway with species disappearing at a phenomenal rate. And they're discovering new species. Stay with me. So looking all around us, we can see that things are changing. I think we can all agree. Things are changing in a very significant way. Massive change on every level, on both personal and collective levels. It looks like we're now living in a time of fundamental change and transformation, the end result of which is yet to be determined by our collective actions. I'm not talking about just what's going on in your family, what's going on in your house. I'm talking about the collective, all of us, in your city, in your state, in our country, on this planet. Inner peace is a second dimension in the same surroundings where you need to be your inner light and connect with the universe. Okay, so the you that exists in the probable future is already connected to the you in this now. I'm going to say that again. The you that exists in the probable future is already connected to the you in this now, in a dimension beyond space and time. For example, sometimes I like to go back and look at old pictures. And sometimes it's so fascinating because I like to look at old pictures and I think to myself, I wish I could go back and tell them what was about to happen, right? Same person. We've grown. You've experienced shit. You've lost shit. You've gained shit. You've learned shit, right? In a dimension beyond space and time. What does that mean? Ancient Egyptian ancestors were convinced that the human soul, people say you can sell your soul. I don't know if you can sell your soul. The human soul was composed of 9 parts. And I won't go into all of that, but you know, you have the Ka and the Ba and all that. But when you discover that you live in a matrix, because we live in a matrix, you learn to play life differently. The body is a miraculous machine, baby. The body is a miraculous machine. And it has been created to take care of itself and heal itself. Do you know your body can spontaneously heal itself? Cut your finger. Get a paper cut. Get a knife. No matter how painful, no matter how much blood, it will come together. The sinews will come together. The flesh will come together. Your immune system will kick into action. Your white blood cells will kick into action. And that thing is going to be mended up in a couple of days. Right? What is that energy that heals your body when it gets sick? When you cut your finger and it heals itself to look back normal in the next couple of weeks. What's that? That's what I want you to pay attention to. Dr. Bruce Lipton said, so many of us are leading limited lives, not because we have to, but because we think we have to, right? A lot of us are operating on outdated programming. Old shit. You moving and operating on old information. We are not victims of our genes, but masters of our fates, able to create lives overflowing with peace, happiness, and love. Overflowing with whatever the fuck you want to fill your life with. You want to fill your life with beauty. You want to fill your life with bands, with money. You want to fill your life with cars, with designer clothes. You want to fill your life with travel. You want to fill your life with intrigue. It's possible. You follow me. Many of us carry amazing spiritual gifts from past lives. And we've brought them here to earth, to this dimension, to this plane, from other planes of existence. Your mind doesn't need to understand how to use all of these spiritual gifts. Because really your mind, in a way, is limited. But it merely needs to allow your soul and allow your intuition to guide it. Because the same thing that powers your body to heal itself when you cut your finger or you burn your finger is the same energy and the same engine that powers your soul and it powers your intuition to lead you to guide you, to push you, to pull you, to compel you. See, it's all this shit is so much bigger than you. So much bigger than the shit they show us. Everything that happens to you is part of a larger landscape that few actually understand. So stay clear of anything that creates an imbalance within you. Stay clear of anything that creates an imbalance within you. Some relationships create an imbalance within you. Some of the shit you eating, you know, it's mucus forming. It's you know, after you eat it, you gotta shit, right? You know, after you eat it, you don't feel good. Your stomach is tumbling, and yet you keep eating the bullshit, right? I know, trust me, I'm human. I get it. But I'm telling you, it's so imperative to stay clear of anything that creates an imbalance within you, even if it's a person. Even if it's somebody that every time they come around you, they bring drama, they bring bullshit, they bring controversy, they bring argument. Stay clear. Because the moment you change your perception, is the moment you rewrite the chemistry of your body. Your perception of any given thing at any given moment can influence the brain chemistry, which in turn affects the environment where your cells reside, and it controls their fate. Each of your individual cells are just like people on the planet. Each cell is an individual life. It has its own individual fate. It's born, it reproduces, and it dies, just like people. I'm going somewhere. Stay with me. Too much of anything takes one out of balance. Even a good thing, too much of it, shit not good no more, right? And as we move forward, finite is merging with infinite in physical. The finite, right, are fossil fuels. Why do you think so many billionaires are trying to get off the planet, and they're trying to get to the moon, and they're trying to make interplanetary travel a thing? Because the finite is merging with infinite in physical. And it will only be in fractals, because both worlds cannot exist at the same moment in a limited construct, right? You can only sit on one toilet at a time. You can only shit in one toilet at a time. You can only sleep in one bed at a time. You can only exist and live in one house, in one city, in one country at a time. You can only drive one car at a time. I know you want 16 cars. I know you want that German, right? That German engineered. I know you can only drive one car at a time. You can only live one life at a time. You can only be in one relationship and one union at a time. Women, we can only carry one child at a time. Well, not necessarily, but what that means is the ego is beginning to remember its role and purpose. That's what I need you to understand. The ego is your persona and personality and role you chose to have during this incarnation. You chose, okay? Your complexion, your race, your ethnicity, your gender, your sexuality, your religion, your family, your upbringing. It's all a part of your ego. And we will begin to experience essences of our divine self in consciousness and have a new awareness. That's what I'm beginning to see. I don't know about you, but I know that this will allow each to begin to feel and step into the knowingness of who and what we truly are. What does that mean? As this begins to gradually take place, your perception of everything will begin to slowly change. Because we're already seeing this, right? A lot of the old belief systems and old ideas that we used to cling to are slowly, gently falling away. It is taking place in this ever-present moment of now, with baby steps for all that are ready. Too much or moving forward too fast can create harm. So each step will have to be gently integrated. Follow me, stay with me. Each step will have to be gently integrated before the next step can be taken. And everyone will integrate this shift at their own level and their own pace. Okay? Each person, each of us, each soul will begin to understand that we live in a holographic universe. And for some of us, we already realize that. We already recognize that. This shit not real. Nothing is real. Nothing is solid. Even the things that you think are solid is an amalgamation of molecules and electrons and protons and neutrons and neutrinos, right? Each will begin to understand it's a holographic universe that can be programmed. And not only that, but we're all running on programs and we're all living in a program. We are likening to that of a movie projector, except it's done with energy. Stay with me. Each will begin, each of us, each soul, each person, slowly. Because they're going to start to speak this truth on your CNN and your Fox News and your media outlets. It's not spoken because they don't want everyone to know yet. But soon it'll be obvious, right? The same way once upon a time there was no internet, there was no Wi-Fi, and few had access to it. Those with wealth and affluence and means, right? And they had internet, they had connection, they were tapped in. And then soon more and more people got access to internet and Wi-Fi. Now damn near everybody has access to internet and Wi-Fi, right? Same concept. Just understand that's how shit works. Starts at the top, few have access, drops down slowly, more get access, and then soon everyone know what it is, right? Each will begin to understand and know how to transduce the energy into broadcasting to the hologram in order to achieve the experience one wishes to experience while you are in physical form. You probably have less days in front of you than you have behind you. And so it's so imperative that you do something meaningful with the time that you have left in that physical vessel. I'm talking to you. You are learning gradually how to take control over your reality. You are learning gradually how to take control over your reality and become the full creator that will also embody the creation. Talking about the tipping point, you'll begin to understand coherence. There's coherence in everything on every level. In the physical, in the spiritual, in the elemental, coherence. You'll begin to understand coherence and balance and the importance of living in a coherent and balanced state of being. That's why I said it's so important to get your ass away from people and places and things and ideas and concepts that fuck up your balance. This is where the true master steps into mastery while in the physical body. Each will know their connection with source and connections to all things and to each other. We're all connected. And I'm not saying that on some old we are the world type shit, but I am kind of saying it on like, it's really like 7 degrees of separation between everybody. You don't know who knows who. You don't know who can put you on, who can get you in the right rooms, who can get you the right connections, right? The concept of competition will appear to have been so silly as one begins to see truth beyond the false grid of distortion. Because if you learn to walk beside your shadow, to accept it for what it is and befriend it, it can be an incredible resource for personal and spiritual growth. Remember that. If you can learn to walk beside your shadow, accept it for what it is, befriend it, You'll learn so much more about yourself. You'll learn so much more about your world, your relationships, why shit happens the way it does for you. Elizabeth Gilbert wrote, I've never seen any life transformation that didn't begin with the person finally getting tired of their own bullshit. What bullshit of yours do you need to address and deal with? Because we all are on some bullshit, right? Different people, different levels of it. What ripples in the space-time continuum do you need to shake in order to alter future realities in the third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension? Your reality, your waking reality today. What do you need to do to get your shit in order? Right? You don't need a middleman between you and the universe, or you and your God, or you and your ancestors. Your inner energy, your chi, is your inner peace. A guide to a peaceful, humble path waiting only for you to explore. And peace is the result of retraining your mind to process life as it is, rather than as you think it should be. Peace is the result of retraining your mind to process life as it is. See, because a lot of people be in some fantasy shit. You know that's not what life is. Shadow work is the process of exposing your repressed emotions and claiming accountability for your entire narrative. Because see, I woke up the other day and I said, you know what? All the shit that's going on right now in the world, going on in my country, all of this shit with vaccines and COVID-19 and the economy and inflation and hyperinflation and motherfuckers is losing their minds. I don't want to be a part of this shit no more. Like, I'm here, I exist, but I'm not participating in this shit. And really, it's no longer my reality. And I know that's easier said than done, but it's like, really, it works that way. You don't go and change the world. You change yourself. And the world changes around you. Who else do you think, like, how do you think people become millionaires? Self-made. Billionaires. Spontaneous healing. How do people have a spontaneous healing? You know why? How? They decide one day, you know what? I'm not going through this bullshit no more. Now, they may not say it in those terms, but they make a decision. And they determine what the narrative over their life looks like. Trust in your dreams, because in them is a hidden portal to eternity. There are hidden portals all over the world, all over the place. You time travel in your dreams. You are hyperdimensional in the dream world. You can communicate with your higher self and your ancestors and loved ones who have passed on in the dream world. To create reality, focus beyond the outcome. Because see, a lot of times, all we are looking at is the outcome. Focus beyond the outcome, as if it has already happened. Okay? Reality can exist only where your mind creates a focus. Always remember that. Everything that happens to you is an inside job. It's all on you, baby. It's all on you, boo. Manifestation begins with the willingness to make room in our beliefs for something that supposedly doesn't exist. That's how shit happens, really. People, you know, when you want to have children, you say, you know what? I want a family. And so you begin to make room for that reality and what that looks like, what it feels like. We create that something through the force of consciousness and awareness. We are responsible for our own perceptions. Nobody is really regulating your perception. You decide what the fuck you see. This world, this simulation reflects back your unconscious beliefs, right? You don't get to experience what you want necessarily. You get what you truly believe in. If you truly believe shit is fucked up, that's all you're going to experience is a fucked up reality. If you truly believe, you know what? Miracles happen. God is good. Life is good. I'm full of gratitude. You're going to experience a life where God is good, life is good, and you are constantly met with things that fill you with gratitude. Real talk. So I leave you with this. Be a creator of your world. Invest in yourself. Get comfortable in the unknown. Like really get comfortable in the unknown. Because anywhere you really want to go is going to force you into a space, initially at least, of the unknown. Okay? As long as you're comfortable with what has been and what continues to be, you're going to keep getting what has been and what continues to be. You want more? You want to have more? You want to experience more? You have to introduce yourself to a space of the unknown. Improve yourself, mind, body, and soul. Nerve cells that fire together, wire together. Why do I say this? Nerve cells that fire together, wire together. Everything that you want to do, to have, to be, like however you want your life or need your life to function, all begins in your thought world. And then it trickles down into your habits and your actions or inaction, right? How you execute on shit. Do you just keep doing the same old? Are you learning new shit? Are you getting yourself in a new environment? Conversing with new people. And as you begin to learn new information, you biologically wire that information into your cerebral architecture. So keep unfolding. Keep unfolding. We at the tipping point. Some shit is changing. Shit is really changing. I know it feels like any other, October, any other fall, any other, shit's changing. And as it's changing, I need you to keep unfolding. Your perspective is always limited by how much you know. So expand your knowledge and you will transform your mind. And where we put our awareness and for how long maps our destiny. This is the tipping point. This is the tipping point. I'm attracting everything that is for my highest good. New opportunities, new energy, new mindset, new connections. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.